What's up, it's me, D.W.C, and welcome back to the channel, and today we have another video in MLB The Show, and we are doing another career simulation. I did one not too long ago with Bo Bichette, and it turned out really well. I liked how it played out, so I decided to continue on with a few more of them, and today we are going to be doing a player on the Chicago White Sox. Now, the Chicago White Sox have a lot of young players that have the potential to be really good. So you may be wondering who I am going to be doing a career sim for. Obviously, we're going to be taking over the White Sox. We're going to be putting everything on auto manage as I want no control. We are just following the player. We will go into the regular season, and we are going to show you who we are taking control of. Looking through this team, you got good young players like Michael Kopech coming up in the rotation. You've got Andrew Vaughn at first base. You've got Nick Madrigal. You got Moncada, Eloy Jimenez. But the guy we are going to be taking over is the third-ranked prospect in baseball, according to MLB.com right now, and it is Luis Robert. So we're going to look at him quickly. He sees the 73 overall boosted up to 77 with morale. We're going to take a look at his stats. 57-62 for contact, 52-57 for power. His vision and discipline aren't great. His clutch is okay. His fielding's pretty decent to start with anyways for a center fielder. We can work with that. And then he has really good speed off the start. 22 years old, 73 overall. Let's take a quick look at his potential. 95 potential. So we are going to see how Luis Robert's career plays out with the Chicago White Sox. As I pointed out, they do have a lot of young pieces like Mazara and Robert and Eloy, and I guess you can count Tim Anderson, Moncada, Madrigal, Vaughn coming up, along with future guys in the rotation like Kopech and Dylan Cease, and Giolito, who's only 25, so they have a lot of guys that they're going to need to sign in a few years. So I'm not sure that Robert will be on this team for his whole career. It's probably highly unlikely that they'll be able to keep all these players with the high potentials, but it looks like it can be a very good young team. And we're going to hop into his first year of simulation, and we'll see how it plays out. I'll update you at the end, and then as we move on, I'll just do updates every so often, like year 3, year 5, or when they get into a playoff position, and if he wins any awards. So we're going to get into the year 1 simulation of the career for Luis Robert, and we will see you at the end of the season. So we are at the end of season number 1. The White Sox finished with 85 wins, and they missed out on the postseason. We are going to go check by how much. They missed out on the second wildcard spot by 5 games. They were ranked 12th in baseball, so not too bad. One thing they did do, as I was simming through that I noticed, is they traded away Nick Madrigal for Jonathan VR. And Nick Madrigal obviously is a 22-year-old, a potential second baseman, so I don't understand that trade. They also gave away 2 other players along with him just to get Jonathan VR. So I don't really understand that trade because I don't really value Jonathan VR that much in this game. But I guess the AI does, but I would have much rather have seen them keep the 22-year-old, a potential second baseman in Nick Madrigal. But with them getting rid of him, maybe that opens the opportunity for Luis Robert to spend more of his career with Chicago. So you never know. But looking at how Robert did in his first year, he played 88 games only, 328 at-bats, 9 home runs, 6 stolen bases, a 210 average, 259 OBP, and a 624 OPS. So a very, very underwhelming performance in year number 1 for Luis Robert. Actually very disappointing for a top 3 rated prospect in MLB. But he is getting a bit better. So hopefully next year he'll come in, play a few more games, make himself more of a name, get all those stats pushed up a bit, and we'll start to see the career of Luis Robert really take off. Because he's only 22 years old. I got a feeling by the time he's 26, he's going to be a really good player in baseball. So we are going to go ahead and I guess simulate through this postseason right here just to see who wins. So we will sim the postseason. And the Dodgers defeat the Astros in the 2020 World Series. Awards, we'll check to see if we got anything. I highly doubt it. No, nothing for Robert. He definitely didn't win Rookie of the Year because he was terrible. Susugo won Rookie of the Year. Not really surprised there at all. So we're going to move along, and we are going to sim the offseason, and we will see you at the end of season number 3 if nothing happens up until that point. Year number 2 is over, and the White Sox won 100 games and the division, and they will be taking on the Astros in the division series. We are going to stop simulating. We're going to look at Robert's stats for the season. We're also going to look at the team quickly. So Giolito, Keuchel, Lopez, Rondon, and Gio Gonzalez. Nothing's changed there. The bullpen, we have Aaron Bummer, who is looking fantastic. 84 overall, up to 89 with the morale. He's pitching really well in both seasons so far. Jace Fry is looking pretty good. He had a decent year. And then, obviously, we have 3 closers. Well, not obviously, but they signed Nate Jones and Brandon Morrow and brought Alex Colomé back. And all 3 of those guys look like they had pretty good seasons. 4 and 1.5 for Colomé is the worst. Nate Jones had a good year, and Brandon Morrow had a good year. I don't know how long they signed him for. Okay, it's just a 1-year deal, so that's fine. Yasmani Grandal and Zach Collins at the catcher spots. Grandal had a much better year this season. You'll like to see that. First base, we have Jose Abreu, who's going to do what Jose Abreu does. He hits around mid-20s to 30 home runs. Last year was a down year, but this year he did what he usually does. And we still have Encarnacion, brought him back for 1 year on a cheap contract. Didn't really play all that much, didn't do too much. VR had a good year after they signed him. 23 home runs, 800 OPS, not bad. They also signed Cesar Hernandez at second base to back him up. Moncada had a great year, 917 OPS for him. Tim Anderson had a fantastic year. 37 home runs is more than I expected. He had a really good year, actually. 928 OPS. Eloy had a good year. And looking at Robert played 150 games this year, so up by a lot. He hit 38 doubles, 23 home runs this year, 271 average, stole 17 bases, and an 843 OPS. So that is a lot more along the lines of what we're looking to see. Big time improvement over his rookie season right there. So we're very happy with the progression he made in year number 2. We're going to get into the playoffs and see how the team does in the postseason. Okay, so we're playing the Astros right here, and we are going to sim right through. And we got eliminated by the Astros in the division series. 100-win season, can't win a game in the postseason. Very disappointing there for the White Sox. But we're going to move along, and I will stop whenever something important happens in the career of Luis Robert. White Sox are back in the playoffs in year number 3, 94 wins. They are a wild card team. We're going to stop and check out how Robert did this season on the White Sox to get them into the playoffs. Not by himself, obviously, but how he did to contribute to that. Looks like he had a little bit of a down year compared to last year. He hit 18 home runs, 34 doubles, 256 average. The OBP was still decent. The OPS was down a bit, so not the greatest year for him. He did go up a nice bit, though. You see he's up to 79 contact versus left now, and his fielding's really good. The rest of his hitting stats are pretty average, honestly, but hopefully we continue to see some growth from him. But we're going to get into the postseason and simulate through this wild card game against the Yankees. Probably going to lose, and they do. So I guess I'll see you at the end of season number 4 if we're in the playoffs again. If not, the end of season number 5. Very quickly, the White Sox just signed Trey Turner and Max Muncy, which is incredible for the team. Max Muncy on a 3-year deal, Trey Turner on a 7-year deal by the looks of it. So what I'm going to do is, obviously, the White Sox still have Tim Anderson, so I'm going to move him over to second base just to help out the team. Just wanted to give you an update on what we're doing with the team. I said I'm not going to make any changes, but I think this one is just going to make it a lot better for the layout of the roster, and that's the only thing I'm going to change. The White Sox once again find themselves in the playoffs as a wild card team. We're going to stop again and go look at Robert as we go along, because why not? Just makes it easier than going back and tracking him down afterwards. He is 25 years old at this point. His stats are growing nicely. He did have a pretty good year this year, actually. Last I checked, he wasn't doing that great, but he did have 31 doubles, 25 home runs, 275 average, and an 837 OPS. So pretty even with his second season in the MLB. So both these years are pretty even for his top year so far. Not too bad at all. Hopefully we can get more of this going ahead as he continues to grow, get that power up, and hopefully he has a great career. He's up to 75 home runs already at 25 years old. Probably not getting to 500. Might get to 400 though. We'll have to see on that. Hits definitely not going to get to 3,000, but we'll have to see how the career goes for him as we move along. And we are going to simulate this playoff run right now. Quickly, we'll just take a look at how the new guys did. Trey Turner had a good year. Eloy Jimenez had a fantastic year. Moncada had a great year. Muncy had a good year. Grandal could have done better. Giolito could have done better. Robert was pretty good. Bummer was good. Rondon was pretty good. Hauser was good. Don't know where he came from. Colomé was good this year. McCullers, they got picked up. They traded away Tim Anderson after. Mazzara continues to disappoint really in his MLB career. He's supposed to get good at some point, but he still just can't really have that breakout season. I guess last year he did all right, but yeah, anyway, moving on. Wild card game against the Twins. Can we win it? And they don't. So far in Robert's career, the White Sox have failed to do anything in the postseason, and he continues to disappoint in the playoffs. Can't get anywhere past the regular season. But we are going to move on, and I'll see you at the end of year number 5, I believe. Okay, end of year number 6. I accidentally simulated through the playoffs in year number 5. The White Sox lost in the wild card game as usual so far. We won the division this year with 94 wins. We'll be taking on the Red Sox in the division series. We'll stop and look at how Luis Robert did as usual. I'll quickly run you through the team. It's changed quite a bit. We have Trey Turner. Actually, I'll just show you the rotation first because the rotation is nutty. Shane Bieber, Brandon Woodruff, Giolito, McCullers, Lamet, Kopech, and Cease. That is ridiculous. The bullpen is alright with Bummer, Miza, Holder, and Cordero. And then Kenley Jansen was closing games for us, but he's starting to fall off. He still seems like he had a... Never mind, he didn't have a very good year. Bummer must have been closing games for us. 48 saves. Yeah, he did pretty good. Catcher, we have Severino and Astudillo. Nothing special there. First base, we got Max Muncy still doing his thing. Killing baseballs. Absolutely fantastic year there for Max Muncy. Third base, we now have Bill Diaz as they let Yoan Moncada go, which is a big-time mistake in my opinion. But I'm not controlling the team, so it is what it is. Trey Turner continues to have great seasons for us. Eloy Jimenez continues to have fantastic seasons for us. 54 home runs. Look at his career. 31, 28, 36, 37, 46, 41, 54. This should be an Eloy Jimenez career simulation. My God. But it isn't. The man we're focusing on in this video is Luis Robert. Seems like he had his best power outbreak this year. His average dipped a little bit. Last year was his best season so far with 42 doubles, 25 home runs, and an 877 OPS. This season was pretty similar to year number 2 and year number 4. He had 30 home runs, 39 doubles, 260 average, and an 836 OPS. So not bad at all. It seems like he's sitting around the 25 to 30 home run range and around the mid, like 830 OPS or higher. So not too bad so far. I'm really hoping he has a breakout year, maybe at age 28 or 29. He's up to 90 overall now. And they also have Randall Grichuk in right field, who looks like he had a pretty decent year. So we are going to go ahead and simulate through this series with the Red Sox. And hopefully they can actually win a series for once in this simulation. Win 2, lose 2. Final game comes down to Game 5. What can they do? And they lose. The White Sox are once again eliminated in the playoffs. I'm not sure if this is Robert's contract year. I'm going to go check that very quickly. And I think, yeah, it is. Looks like it's his contract year. We'll see if he stays with the White Sox or if he goes somewhere else. I'll let you know at the end of the offseason. Red Sox end up winning the World Series, so at least we lose to the champions, but it still isn't great as we cannot even get to the championship series so far. Okay, so as I mentioned, Luis Robert was a free agent this offseason. He signed with the Oakland Athletics, so we are going to stop and look at the Oakland Athletics team, as it is the new team that we will be following in this career simulation. He comes in and he is their third best player. We'll go through the roster very quickly. They got Luzardo, Montas, Luke Rennie, and Nick Lodolo, with Daniel Mengden and AJ Puk as the rotation. Pretty solid rotation. Bullpen isn't looking the greatest with Trevino and Reyes as the top two and them alone pretty much. And then they have some Adrian Gonzalez guy who hasn't played in the majors yet but is 31 years old as an 82 overall. Makes sense. And then they have MJ Melendez in as their catcher, 27 years old, 87 overall, A potential. Came from the Royals, I do believe. I guess he never actually played for the Royals. He's only played for the Athletics, but I'm almost positive he started with the Royals. Very good fielder, pretty good hitter. Hopefully he can be good for this team. First baseman, they have this guy as a prospect, 22 years old, A potential, not bad, good contact, not the greatest power yet. Alan Hansen is their second baseman. Matt Chapman at third base for the Athletics, still 32 years old, 97 overall. Great numbers throughout his career. He had two 50 home run seasons, 49 and 55. Fantastic for him so far. Looks like a great player on this team. Robert Poisson's 23 years old and already 94 overall, so looks like he's going to have a fantastic career as well for the Athletics. And then they have Armenteros, who's a potential in right field at 26 years old. He's doesn't have that much power, but he has good contact and great fielding. Center field is obviously Robert. This is what his stats are looking like if you were wondering. And then right field, they have Terso Ornelius. No idea who that is, obviously a draft pick. Anyway, we're going to continue on with the simulation. I will see you at the end of year number 9, I think. I think this was the end of year number 7, so I'll see you at the end of year number 9. End of season number 8, and the Oakland Athletics with Luis Robert were really, really good this year. 101 wins is fantastic. We're going to go over to their roster really quickly and take a look. You see Poisson is popping off. He's up to a 99 overall now. That's fantastic. Look at his season. 43 home runs, 300 average. Disgusting. Matt Chapman had a good year. Robert looks like he did about what he's been doing the past few seasons. Last year, I didn't show you, he had 24 home runs, 256 average, 800 OPS. And this year, he did about the same thing. 25 home runs, 253 average, and an 800 OPS. We're really, really hoping that he can actually start getting those numbers up. He's up to a 92 overall now, so we're really expecting these totals to start to go up more, especially the average and the home runs. I'd like to see him actually get like mid-30s or 40 home runs on a season, but I guess we'll have to wait and see for that. But he is in the playoffs with the Athletics, who have been very, very good this year. 101 wins, as I mentioned, and they will be taking on the Seattle Mariners in the playoffs. And we're going to sim through this game. They lose. Sim through game number 2. They win. Game 3, they lose. Game 4, and they're eliminated. So Luis Robert continues to struggle in the postseason and not be able to advance. But I guess I'll see you at the end of the next season if they make the playoffs again, which after winning 100 games they should. Or I'll just update you when something notable happens in the career of Luis Robert. After 1 year out of the playoffs, the Oakland Athletics are back into the playoffs again as a wild card team by the looks of it this time around. We're going to go over and look at Robert again, as we tend to always do. Looks like he's jumped up again. He's now up to 93 overall. Last season he had 25 home runs, 282 average, so that average came up a nice bit, 883 OPS. This season, 44 doubles also. This season, 41 doubles, 25 home runs again. 307 average this time, so that's a career high in average for him, which is fantastic. Very good OBP, and the OPS is over 900 for the first time in his career at 31 years old. So it looks like he's coming into his stride. He averages pretty much around 25 home runs every season. 23, 25, 25, 24, 25, 25, 25, which is very, very consistent production from him power-wise. The average is starting to come around, so he's starting to be able to hit for contact a bit more, which you like to see. This is what his attributes are looking like. The power numbers aren't the greatest, which is probably why he's only hitting around 25 home runs. The fielding, the speed, and the contact are fantastic, though. But we're going to get into this. We're going to simulate through this wild card game with the Athletics. Hopefully they can actually win something. And they do. So I think that's Robert's first advancement in the postseason, which is wild. Let's see how they do against the Rangers. They win the first one. They lose the second one. Win the third and the fourth. So they advance to the conference series against the Indians, which is fantastic. And we're going to move on. They lose the first 2 games. They win the third. They win the fourth. And they lose that one. So it comes down to an elimination game here in this one. And they win it. You know what we're going to do? We're going to quick manage this game as it's Robert's first chance to get to the World Series. We are going to quick manage this one. And when I say quick manage, we are going to blow through it. Okay, so in the top of the first inning with 1 out, Robert hit a double in a 0-0 game. Then strikeout and a flyout gets the Indians out of the inning. Moving along now. Still nothing. Scoreless game all the way into the 6th inning at this point. An error. And we get a man on second with 1 out. Tim Burnett doubles to bring in a run. Luis Robert hitting 4th up at the plate now. He strikes out. And then Babe Gelman, the first base prospect, gets a double and brings in another run to put the Athletics up 2-0. And the Athletics have defeated the Indians 2-0. Shutout there. And they advance to the World Series. So Luis Robert is going to the World Series for the first time in his career. And they are facing the Milwaukee Brewers. So we're going to simulate Game 1. They win. Game 2, they win. Game 3, they win. And Game 4, I'm going to quick manage, and then I'll jump in for the celebration if it gets to that point. Okay, so the Athletics lost that game 8-6. They are still up 3-1 in the series, however, going into game number 5. Let's see if they can close it out in this one. And Luis Robert hits a 2-run home run in the bottom of the first inning to give the Athletics a lead early on. Beautiful stuff right there by Robert. 2-0 Athletics. After the Brewers take the lead, Matt Chapman hits a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 5th inning to put the Athletics back on top. Bottom of the 9th inning, 6-5 for the Brewers right now. Bases are loaded with 1 out. A pop-up, and Matt Chapman walks it off. The Athletics win the World Series. I know I said I would jump in. Didn't get the chance right there. Athletics win the World Series. Luis Robert gets his first ring in the MLB. We'll go over and take a look at his stats. And in the playoffs, Robert had a .318 average, 4 home runs, 3 steals. Looks like he played very, very well to be a big contributor for his team, getting himself that World Series championship. And Robert was actually second in postseason MVP voting. He did not win World Series MVP, but he was second in postseason MVP voting. But that does it. That's Luis Robert's first World Series championship at 31 years of age. I will update you again if something significant happens. We are at the end of the next season, and it looks like the Oakland Athletics are back in the playoffs very strongly after winning the World Series last season. 106 wins. Fantastic season right there for the Athletics. Easily won their division by 9 games. They are the 5th ranked team in baseball. So we're going to hop over and take a look at Robert and then simulate through the playoffs just like we did last season. I will not be quick managing any games from here on out. I just wanted to get through and see if he could win his World Series. But it looks like he's holding his overall, but his attributes are starting to go down a little bit. His potential's gone down. But he did have a great year this year. He had 38 home runs, which is the most runs by far that he had at any point in his career. By 8, he had 31 year, 38 this year. 175 home runs is close to what he did last year. 304 average, 374 OBP, 967 OPS is his best OPS yet at 32 years old. So his age 32 season has been his best so far with the Athletics and throughout his whole career. That's what we like to see. We like to see him coming around. 267 home runs at this point in his career. Only 1,600 hits. So he's definitely not getting to 3,000 hits. He'll probably get to 2,000. Looks like he's going to get 400 doubles, and he'll probably get 300 plus home runs. But we're going to go into the postseason, like I said, for the Athletics, and we're going to simulate through and see how they do this year in the postseason. See if they can go back-to-back. Against Texas again this year, they beat them in Game 1. They beat them in Game 2. They lose Game 3. They lose Game 4. It's coming down to Game 5, and they lose, and they are eliminated. The Athletics could not go back-to-back with Luis Robert, but he still has that one championship, and I believe he has one more year on his contract with the Oakland Athletics, and we'll see if he resigns there or if he moves on somewhere else in his career. Robert's final year on his contract, and the Athletics balled out once again, back-to-back 100-win seasons. We'll go over, I just took a look at Robert's stats, so I know he played really, really well in his contract year. We'll take a look at it right here. 43 home runs for Luis Robert. His overall is going up. He's up to a 94 overall. That's the highest he's been. 42 doubles. He's up to 430 doubles on the career. 43 home runs brings him up to 310 home runs on the career. At 33 years old, he by far had his best season. 312 average, 393 OBP, and an OPS of over 1,000. So easily his best season in the majors at 33 years old. Looks like he's just getting better with time here at 33 years of age. His past 2 seasons have been his best of his career by far. And the Athletics are once again in the playoffs, so let's see if he can win World Series championship number 2 in his final year, potentially with Oakland. Going up against the Mariners this time, and they lose Game 1, they lose Game 2, not looking very good for a 100-win team to get swept in 3 games. That's not very good. Robert holds on to his 1 championship, and we will see if he departs Oakland, and I will update you where he goes if he does. I didn't even think to check until just now. Luis Robert was second in MVP voting, and honestly, if you ask me, it looks like he had better statistics. The only thing that held him back was the RBI totals. If we go in here, yeah, he definitely should have won. Definitely should have won. 14 stolen bases, OPS was higher. The only thing that set him apart was he had 20 less RBI. Definitely should have won MVP this season, but I guess MLB The Show is just biased towards RBI. Luis Robert stays with the Athletics. He signs a 7-year contract at 34 years of age, which is very brave for Oakland to give him that. In my opinion, at 34 years old, giving him a 7-year contract is kind of crazy. But it lets us just follow the one team for the rest of his career, because I'm almost guaranteeing that this will be his final contract in Major League Baseball. So we are going to keep on simulating, and I'll update you when something interesting happens. Athletics win the division with 89 wins and are back in the playoffs. Luis Robert has had many appearances in the postseason, only the 1 ring so far. Let's see if that can change this year, as they had a few years with 100-plus wins. Only one of them they won anything, so let's see with 89 wins if they can make some noise. Win the first game, win the second game, lose the third, and they get past the White Sox, his former team, and they're going up against Tampa Bay. They win Game 1 and Game 2 and Game 3. They can't sweep them. They can't close it out there. They still can't close it out. Going to a Game 7, and they win. They advance to the World Series for the second time, and they're facing the Cubs. They lose 9-1. They win 2-1. They lose 5-2. They win 10-4. They lose 7-3, and they get eliminated. They lose in the World Series of the 2032 World Series. So Robert's second appearance in the World Series, and he has 1 for 1 so far in the World Series. Showing this because I gotta show whenever Trout retires. Finishes his career with 3,037 hits, 671 home runs. Absolutely insane career for him. And I also forgot to show what Robert did this season, so I'm quickly going to do that. We're going to take a look at our guy. He looks like he's starting to go down. 91 overall now at 35 years old. Hit 36 home runs this year, so his power has come around the last 3 seasons. He hit 304 average and over 1,000 OPS for the second straight season. So a very, very good year again for Robert. 144 games played. Let's quickly check. Actually, I can't check awards. It's too late. I don't think he would have won anything with those numbers if he didn't win last year. So we're just going to move on, and we'll be back when we're back. The Athletics had a pretty rough second half in 2034, but they did win the division with 86 wins somehow. We're going to go over and look at what Robert did. I will show you what he did last season as well very quickly. He is starting to regress pretty quickly now at this point at 36 years old. He is down to an 80 overall. Last year, he hit 37 home runs, 314 average, and an OPS of 1,030. This season, he fell off quite a bit. He hit 31 doubles. He's up to 544 doubles on his career. 18 home runs this season brings him up to 401 on his career. 293 average brings that average up. 280 career average now, and 849 OPS. His OPS sits at around 880. So he's had a very, very strong year. He's up to 2,274 hits. I might move him to left field to try and get him another season. Actually, we're going to do that right now. We're going to put him in left field, try and buy him one more year of his career, because that's not unrealistic at all. As players get older, they get moved to easier fielding positions. So we're going to stick him in left field. We're going to simulate this playoff run and see how the Athletics do. Game 1 against Boston, they lose. They win Game 2. They win Game 3. They win Game 4. They advance to play Detroit. And against Detroit, they go 1-1 in the first 2 games. They lose Game 3. They lose Game 4. And they win Game 5. Can they fight back? And no, they are eliminated. They lose to the Tigers, and they get eliminated from the 2034 playoffs. The Athletics won 106 games this season. Luis Robert's most likely his last year on a major league roster. He is down to 70 overall now. He is still under contract for 2 more seasons, but he only played 26 games, 94 at-bats, only hit 1 home run and 8 doubles. He's up to 580 doubles, 418 home runs. The average was low. The OPS was low. Very, very rough season. He got 240 steals on the career. Not a good season. Barely got involved. But I think he might be on the postseason roster for the Athletics, so let's see if he can get himself one final ring in the MLB. I'm really hoping he does, because that would be awesome to see. Going against the Blue Jays, they win, they lose, they win, they lose. Can they win this final game? No, they lose, and they are eliminated from the playoffs. And that is probably all that we will see from Luis Robert in the major leagues. And I will update you when we get the official retirement announcement from Luis Robert. Here is Luis Robert. He is now 42 years old. He's done nothing the last 2 seasons. He did get a little bit more action in that next season. He played 40 games, 141 at-bats. He only hit 9 doubles and 1 home run, though. Very low statistics overall. But we'll quickly run through his career statistics. 2,471 hits is nice. 589 doubles is very good. 113 triples, 419 home runs is solid. Career average of 280, 356 OBP, and a career OPS of 871. His career WAR was 79.3. So a very solid career for Luis Robert. And now we're going to advance and see if he made the Hall of Fame. And he did. Luis Robert inducted into the 2039 Hall of Fame. There you see his statistics right at the bottom. Gets inducted alongside Kristen Pache, Corey Seager, and Mike Soroka. So that is 2 career simulations we've done, 2 Hall of Fame careers, 1 World Series apiece. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will be back soon with some more MLB The Show content, and I'll see you then.